AI agents are easily one of the most exciting parts of AI right now, and they don't just respond like typical AI chatbots like ChatGPT. They could actually take actions for you, and they are getting more powerful every single day. My goal with this video is to explain what AI agents are in the most simple way, even if you're completely non-technical, show you how they work, show you what they're used for with practical examples, and then we're gonna go ahead and build one from scratch, very step by step. Now, you don't need any coding skills to follow along, and I'm confident by the end of the video, you'll not only understand exactly what AI agents are and what they could do, but you could build your very own AI agent. Now, let's get into what AI agents are first. So AI agents are a computer program that can actually think and reason and act on their own to complete a task. They're autonomous, right? They could actually take steps on their own. Now, these are totally unlike traditional computer programs. Those have to follow a very specific set of instructions that usually someone else wrote for them. AI agents could actually adapt to new information. They could learn from experience. They usually have memory, and they could figure out the best way to actually achieve a goal. Now, what makes AI agents so different and so groundbreaking? Well, the best way to break it down is by comparing it to the other tools that are available right now. So for example, let's take ChatGPT. ChatGPT will take in a text prompt, your question, and it will output an answer, right? But it actually can't really take actions for you. It's just a back and forth conversation. Very useful, but not an agent. And then there is something called automation, and there are plenty of automation tools that I've used for many years before AI came out. And those can take action, but they have to follow a specific set of predefined rules. They actually can't reason and they can't figure out the best path forward. They will literally go step by step on rules that you have set for them. Those are called automations. So agents, in a way, combine all of those things and more. So they could have access to the power of models like ChatGPT. They could have access to steps and tools that you typically have in automation tools. And they have access to reasoning, and they have access to memory, and they bring it all together to actually achieve a goal. Okay, let me break down how agents actually work in a very step-by-step way. So the very first step is you want to give your agent a goal. So for example, help answer customer service question. That's the role of the agent. The second step is it will go and gather information that he has access to. So it will look at what's happening in the chat, it will look at customer messages, any order history, and it will put all of that together. Now, step 3, it will make decisions based on what it's learned. It will figure out what the next step is. It will answer questions. It will ask for more details if it needs it. It will arrange a refund. It will actually take that step to arrange a refund, for example. So not only can it reason and understand what it needs to do next, it will actually be able to do that. And that is step 4. It will actually take the action. AI agent does what it thinks is best to hit its goal, and it will literally do those steps to get there. Now, what makes an AI agent? It typically has 3 parts to it. The very first part and the core of an AI agent is the AI model it is using in the background. So you could use models that ChatGPT uses, for example. You could use Claude, Gemini, whatever your favorite large language model is, that could be the model that is powering your AI agent. I'll show you when we build one how to pick from a list of available large language models. Now, the second part that makes an AI agent useful is the fact that it could have memory. So if it remembers past interactions, it will actually be able to make good decisions, right? If it's a back and forth and it forgets the conversation after a few chats, then it's not very useful. It's not really a good AI agent. And third are tools. AI agents can use tools to do all kinds of different things. So for example, they could retrieve data from your Google Drive. They could go ahead and search the web for you. They could send emails using Gmail for you, and they could chain actions together to get a lot more done than just taking one action inside of one app. Now, one of the ways I actually wrap my head around AI agents and what they could actually do is with a free resource that HubSpot created, which I will link in the description below this video. And it's a perfect companion to this video. It covers many of the same core concepts in written format, so it's really easy to reference later and refresh your memory. It's a 42-page ebook, which goes beyond what I've covered here, with sections that break down specific use cases across marketing, sales, and operation, with multiple examples in each category. Plus, there is a step-by-step guide on how to build a smart human AI collaboration strategy for your business, along with common pitfalls to avoid and best practices to follow. And it comes with a second free download called How to Use AI Agents in 2025. This one's a practical checklist you could follow, and it will walk your organization through each phase of adoption. It's a hand-on tool to make sure your implementation is smooth, strategic, and effective. And I think the section about common pitfalls to avoid is worth mentioning because I won't have time to get into it in this video, but it's an important part of understanding how to work with AI Agent and definitely worth a read. The entire AI Agent playbook is free to download using the link in the description. Thank you for HubSpot for sponsoring this video and making such a practical resource available to my audience. Okay, so what can an AI agent do for you? You could build simple AI agents, or you could get much more complex and build what are called multi-agent systems. Okay, and I'm gonna give you some ideas here and then we'll go ahead and build one. So a very common one that people like to build is a social media content planner. It will suggest and schedule posts using automation platforms and chatbots. Now, AI agents for customer service is one of the most common ways people are using AI agents, but they could actually do a lot of things for you beyond just answering questions. So they could obviously answer FAQ questions, but they usually could solve issues too. For example, they could get connected to Stripe and handle billing questions, a lot of different ways to build those. One of my favorite AI agents is a personal email assistant. An agent that could go categorize and filter all my emails for me, get rid of all the spam for me, draft replies to emails that I need to reply to. Really easy to build that with apps like N8N. You could also have automated lead management agent, right? So if you have a business and you have leads coming in, you want to track those leads, you want to send follow-ups in a timely manner, agents could take care of that for you. You could have an agent that scrapes and summarizes web pages, right? So they could go ahead and browse a web page, extract all the information and summarize it for you and make it really organized for you and easily accessible. AI marketing agents are great. These could automate all kinds of content creation, social media posts, and they will incorporate AI to actually create something really useful and practical so you're not just posting noise on these social media platforms. Now, I'll also link this page in the description below this video. So if you want to see over 1,000 other examples, there is a platform called N8N, which I'll introduce you to in a second, but they have this page right here. If you click on AI, you'll see all kinds of different examples of what AI agents could do. And when you click on any of them here, it will kind of show you how the AI agents is laid out. And if it's free to use, you could just click here and it will be added with a platform called N8N, which we'll get into right now. Okay, now let's go ahead and build our very own AI agent. And the easiest way I've learned how to build an AI agent is with a platform called N8N. Now, one of the main reasons I like this is the visual interface. That's my favorite part. You could literally drag and drop these things, move them around, and it's a really nice canvas. It also has a ton of different integrations. So when you're building these agents, you use tools. And those tools could be your calendar. It could be Gmail. It could be things you have inside of Notion, Slack, WhatsApp, any type of communication tool you use. They typically have an integration for it that's very easy and plug and play. And there's more advanced things you could do to actually attach these workflows or these AI agents to things that are not included, but they are adding more and more all the time. So most likely you will find an integration that's easy and plug and play. And what's great is they actually have a free trial right now and it's very affordable. It starts at just $20 a month and give you access to a lot of usage for that price. And if you're more technical, this is actually an open source platform as well. So you could technically install it locally on your computer and run it. I did make a different video about that. That is more technical, but the N8N website is actually really easy to get started with. I'll put a link in the description to that as well. Now, let me quickly show you what we're gonna build, and then we're gonna build it completely from scratch. I'm gonna build an AI agent that is gonna be my personal assistant. And what it's gonna do is it will have access to all my calendar events. So it will know all the meetings I have coming up. It will access to my email. So it could actually read the emails and I will tell it exactly which emails for it to read. It's gonna be just the emails I'm getting from clients. And then it's gonna be able to send me an email telling me a proposal for a time for a meeting based on everything I have going on. Now, this is just one example of an AI agent. So if you're not using this exact same one, the building blocks of this one will be relevant to a lot of different agents that you'll build. So even if you don't build this exact same one, which I think is gonna be very applicable for you too, but if you don't build the same one or don't need the same one, you'll see that a lot of the building blocks will work through every AI agent that you'll build. Okay, I just made this full screen and I'll make a new AI workflow AI agent here step by step. I'll just create a new one. And inside of your AI agent, this is what you're gonna see. It says click here to add your first step. And there's lots of different ways where an AI agent could start. So a very common one, for example, is trigger manually. You have to click on something to start the AI agent from actually activating. On a schedule is one of my favorites because maybe every single day at a certain time, you could go ahead and create something. And this is the one I'm going to use actually for this one. And another very common one is on a chat message. So it will actually work like ChatGPT. You give it a message, but it will have everything that you set up after that message and it will initiate that way. So for this one here, I could choose on a schedule like this one right here, and it could be set based on days, minutes, seconds, weeks, or months. And then this will be every single day, and it could run at midnight, for example, or in this case, it will make sense to run at 10 a.m. And if I just click away, that schedule is set. Okay, so that's your very first step. You decide how you want to trigger it. You could actually add multiple different triggers, so I'll show you that in a bit. Then I'm going to press the plus sign here. Now, the next one is we need to add an AI agent. So if you check for AI agent, this is the one we want. And let me just click away just to show you what the AI agent looks like. The AI agent will have access to a chat model. That's the AI model that we're going to give it access to. It will have access to memory. We could actually change this, how much memory it has access to. Obviously, long enough for it to remember a chat if we were using it for customer service, for example. And ton of different tools. And this platform, N8N, has access to hundreds of different tools that you could tap into. Pretty much just about every tool you use will be one of these integrations here. So we're going to go ahead and add those three here. Okay, so let me click back on it here because I clicked away. This is the initial page that you typically get. And all you have to do over here is you have to decide how this is going to work. So source for prompt, this is your user message. It could be based on a chat. So if you use the trigger to be a chat, like how a ChatGPT conversation starts, you could choose that. Or you could choose define below. And with define below, you just give it a system prompt that will go over here. So this is how you want the chatbot to actually behave. This is kind of an important part when you go ahead and set these up. So let me go ahead and paste one over here to show you how that goes. Now, I'll briefly walk you through these, but one of the best ways to get these type of prompts is just to explain what you're trying to do with ChatGPT and ask it to give you a system prompt here that you could add inside of N8N. And all I did was I said, you are a client status assistant, and I could even describe more about what it does, but I described in detail what it could actually have access to. So these are the different tools like my calendar, list every meeting, find every free slot, and so on. And then I give it steps. So call the get event tools and then call the get client tools. So those are the couple of tools that we're going to set up in a little bit here. So I just jumped ahead. But again, ChatGPT could help you come up with something like this. And you could just manually type in exactly what you're looking for and have ChatGPT actually flush it out. Just tell ChatGPT to give you a better system prompt from the one you have. And I like to say build an HTML email with the sections, and this will all make more sense here as we build it out. So typically you could come back and add this in a little bit after you know all the different tools that you're going to add to it. But it is a system prompt that is required. Without it, it's not going to do a good job at all. Okay, now if I click away, the next thing we want to do is we want to add a chat model, right? So the first step was just clicking over here and setting that prompt for us. Now the chat model, we have lots of them available to us. So for example, OpenAI is obviously the most popular one. So you could choose that one here, and then you could choose the different types of large language model that comes from OpenAI. So if you want the default one that ChatGPT uses, for example, right now is GPT-4o latest. If 5 comes out, it might be that one by the time you watch this video. And if you want a more cost-effective one, the mini one, this one right here, 4o mini, this is the most cost-effective one. So I'm going to choose that one right over here. And over here, you'll have to add your credentials. And this basically lets you find out where you get something called an API key. If you're not familiar with this, this is something you get directly from OpenAI. So then you could actually use OpenAI's chat models. This is not your regular ChatGPT account that you need in order to do this. So if you Google OpenAI API, it will usually give you a link to this page right here. And this page will let you log in and get an API key. So once you log in, if you go to the dashboard page right here, there is something right here on the left side, API key. And then you will go ahead and create a new secret key over here, give it a name, and it will create you a key, which you will only be able to see one time. And then you will take the key right here, copy that key number. Don't show this to anyone because anyone that has this key will be able to access your API. And the API will need a credit card attached to it, and it will charge you based on usage. And that's why I recommended a cheap model there. And then you paste that over here like this, and then you could go ahead and save it from on top. Okay, so far inside of our AI agent, we double clicked over here, and inside of our AI agent, we gave it a prompt. So that was the first step. The second step was we added a chat model. Again, there's a lot of them available. And if I double click over here, we chose a model from OpenAI, but you could use Gemini, you could use Claude, you could use Llama, all kinds of different models you could add here. The next thing we need to add is a memory. So let me press plus here. And this simple memory is really easy to get started with, but they do have more complex memory options available. But if you search for simple memory here, this one's pretty straightforward. All you have to do is decide how long of the conversation you want it to remember. So how many past interactions the model receives as the context. The context is how much from the input and output it remembers. By default, it's set to 5. Now, for what I'm using this for, that's enough. But if you're using it for like a customer service chatbot, you want something much higher than that, maybe 25, right? But in this case, 5 is good because I'm using it as an assistant and it doesn't need to remember a long conversation. Now, by the way, from time to time, it's good to just save this right here. This will save everything you've done and you'll see it says saved. So every time you make a new adjustment, this turns red so you can save your workflow so you don't lose anything. And this is a nice visual layout here so you could organize things nicely that way. Okay, now this is the most important part of the whole process. This becomes an AI agent when it gets access to tools so it could actually do things for us, right? So it has AI accessible here through OpenAI. It does have memory, but it also needs tools. So if I press plus on tools, you'll see that this has access to a ton of different tools. These are just really popular apps that you probably use already where all your information sits on. And one of the best ones right now for what I'm using this for is Google Calendar. There's a Google Calendar tool. So if I select this, this will pop up with this page. Every tool usually has a page like this where you have to give it access. So the first thing I want to do is credential to connect with. So you want to create new credentials over here, and then you will have to connect this to your Google account where your calendar is. So I'm going to do that here. Okay, and it's connected here to my Google Calendar, and that's all I had to do. So now I could click away here, and this is now my new Google Calendar that I just set it up. Now everything else here could seem a little bit complicated, but it's pretty straightforward. It says what calendar do you want to get this from? So from the list of calendars, I'm going to choose one that is my calendar here. And when it comes to a start and end time, a real simple one is you could start with this fixed option right here and literally choose a date and time. So let's say I'll just start it from now, and then you could set an end date for yourself. And then again, this could be based on that type of date, change it to fixed. And let's say it's a week from now. Now, this is a very beginner way to do it. Another way to do it is with these things called expressions. Now, with expressions, it gets a little bit more advanced, so I won't really go into it in this beginner tutorial. But if you have set it to expressions, if you type in these double brackets like this, you could do something like now. Okay, and this is always changing. This is why it's an expression, not a fixed thing. So you could do now. And then over here, if I change it to expression, it will be now plus 1 hour from now, right? So this is 1 hour from now. Or I could do 1 week from now, for example. So instead of hours, I could put week, and this will become 1 week from now, right? It gets more complicated, so you could start with everything that is fixed, and then over time, as you get more advanced, you could learn about expressions. And you could always ask ChatGPT to give you N8N expressions, and it will give you these where you could just type and paste those into these boxes. And then I'm going to change one last thing over here. For operation, I don't want to create a calendar. I actually want to get many events. So retrieves many events from a calendar. I wanted to check every day what things I have on my calendar. So get many is what I want, and then everything else is set up. So just to recap, you connect your Google Calendar here, then you go ahead and change this to get many, choose the right calendar here, and then down over here, you want to make sure that you change this to after right now. So that will be the time based on fixed, or expression looks like exactly like this. And then before would be 1 week from now. So that's how I set that. Or you could set a fixed date here if you're not going to want to change this all the time. And I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to rename this. Okay, I'm going to call this Get Events Tool. That way, when I actually describe in the system prompt what I want, I could use this exact name instead of Google Calendar Tool. Both would work, but this tells me exactly what I'm trying to do here. And it's easier for me, especially when you add a lot of different tools and when you stack agents on top of agents. I like to just simplify it this way. Now we're going to add another tool. This time, we're going to ask it to go and read our Gmail. So the Gmail tool is what we want. And same kind of thing. We want to link it up to our Gmail. So it worked the same way as before. You create credentials. You already knows my Google. Now with this one, I do need to change the operation again. I want to get many, so that will get many emails from my email inbox. And I have limited to 50 right now because this will work every single week, but you can increase this limit as well. And under filters, this is how I actually want to do it. I want to do it based on labeled names. And I'll explain this in a second. Right now, if I choose label names, it's going to see all the different labels I have in my Gmail account. So the one I want is clients, okay? And I'm going to set it to that, and I could exit out of that. Now, let me open up my Gmail to show you why that's working the way I want. Now, what I've done inside of my Gmail here is I've created a label, which you could create just pressing the plus sign and creating a label, and then selecting any email and putting it inside of that label. Now, they also have an automation in Gmail. So for example, if you wanted to do it in the settings, if you go to all settings, they have this options for filters, and you could actually type in your client emails here and create a filter and create an automated rule so they all get that client email copy. So they'll just directly go over here. You don't have to manually do it. So that's how I set it up. That's on the Gmail side, or you could just manually tag everything with this client's email and then pick things that way. So that's why when I go to my Gmail, I had that label by email. All my client emails directly get that label here. Right now I'm using a test account, but that works in my regular account as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and right click on this one too, and I'm going to rename this Get Client Email Tool. So it stays consistent when I use the system instruction. They all have similar names. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, you could actually have different types of triggers in the beginning. So I'm going to go ahead and click this little section right over here because I want to add another trigger just to show you that you could add multiple triggers. So this is set to a schedule, but for the sake of this video, I want to trigger this manually so I could do a test, right? So I'm going to move this up here. I'm not going to wait till tomorrow. And right over here, if you drag this, you could connect it to the AI agent like this, right? So your trigger could happen right when you click this, right? And you could test the workflow that way, or you could trigger based on that schedule or based on chat. Number of different ways the triggers could start, and you could have multiple stacked on top of each other. And let me go ahead and save this right now. Just remember to save every time you add something. Now I'm going to add one more tool over here. So this is going to be a Gmail tool again. So I'll check for the Gmail tool one more time. But this time I'm going to have it send. So before we got the emails, so you could read the emails, but now we're going to send an email to ourselves. Now the subject line, again, you could set it to fixed, so it's always the same thing. You could use expressions, or you could just select this option right here. Let the model define the parameter so the AI will decide what the subject line is for us. And I'm going to do the same thing. The email type is HTML, so it could be formatted nicely. And I'm going to choose this option again for the actual message. Okay, so that's the next one. And again, I made sure I linked my Gmail account, so I'm going to choose that over here too. And I'll move that down here. And I'll rename this one over here, Send Update Message Tool. Okay, now we have everything set up over here. Let me save it one more time. We could go ahead and test it, right? So to test it, I could just start with this one that I added when you click test. I'm going to test this flow, and you see it's going to run through here. And if you get any error message here, I specifically set one up here so you can see what it does. If I double click it, it gave me a message that there is an error in the memory, how I set up the memory. So if I click over here, it was actually set to connect a chat trigger node, but we didn't have a chat trigger, right? So I need to say define below over here and just type in some text here as a key. So for example, I'll just call this daily briefing. And now I'm going to click away and I'm going to save it now. That should take care of that. So let's test it one more time. And now it's going through. The AI agent is working. Everything is working. I'm getting the checkbox. Anytime I don't get the checkbox, I'll get this error message here. So I'll go ahead and pause this for now. So you could always pause the workflow if you get any errors. And I'll go ahead and double click to see what happened here. And it looks like I had the wrong email here because I did switch my Google account and it was stuck on the old email. So I did switch that back. Okay, so we'll go ahead and test this one more time from on top. Okay, now that got the check mark. Everything is getting the check mark over here. And soon it should send an email to me. There we go, we got the check mark. Okay, now this is the email that was sent to me, right? So it found the 3 emails, these 3 test emails that we sent to ourselves, which are under the client tab. So if I go back here, these were the 3 emails. It read through those emails. Then it checked my calendar, which is using Google Calendar to find out all the different things I have scheduled in the next week. So these are 3 meetings I already have. And then it proposed a time. This is where it reasons for itself to make sure it proposes a time that doesn't interfere with any of the previous meetings I have. So it had to analyze all the previous chats, bring itself up to date, then check my calendar, and then reason within itself, and then find a time where I could propose to a client. So now I could simply just copy and paste this, draft an email, which I could also set to be part of that AI agent workflow. But right now, I just want it to be more as a personal assistant that checks all existing emails and my calendar and propose a time. And you see, because of that HTML formatting, it gave it to me in this really nice format over here. Now, I'm just going to go back here to show you a lot of that happened over here because of this text over here, which was my prompt. And it's set to be user prompt. I'm calling it the system prompt, but this is the box that it goes under here. And that is the behavior that you set for your AI agent to follow. And you could really flush this out again with the help of ChatGPT. And if you just want to pause it right here, I basically told it what type of tool it has access to. And then I told it these are all the different steps I want you to do in that order, right? So it's like step 1 through 5. Exactly how I would describe the same steps to a personal assistant. Now the agent is just doing the work of that personal assistant for me, but I still have to tell it exactly how I want the work to be done. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and save this one more time. Now this has the schedule trigger. So this will run on that same time every single day. And I will have that in my inbox every single day. So I don't have to manually check all those client messages if they require me to set up a meeting with them. And remember, on the N8N website, if you just click on AI, there's over 1,500 AI different automations, and they all work in a similar way where there's an AI agent in the center of it all, and it does all kinds of different things. So if you search by popularity, for example, you could see these are some AI agent chatbots that I'm making videos about, different ways to use WhatsApp and other social media platforms, scraping web pages, all those different things. You could click on them. And now that you have a good understanding on how a basic one is built, you could see a much more complex one here that even combines multiple agents and stacks them on top of each other. And a lot of these are free to use and they will be added automatically to your account. And if this is the first time watching any of my videos, we have an entire platform called Skillleap. And with Skillleap, you get access to over 20 different courses that are very similar in the teaching style that I used in this video, but covers all the top AI tools and all the different AI techniques that are available right now. And we partner with other creators to bring you things that I'm not an expert in. So AI coding, for example, Kevin from Futurepedia has a great course on using video tools to create short films and commercials. And again, me and Andrew and other instructors have well over 20 different courses, and we release new courses every single month. And you get access to this under one subscription, and it has a free trial. So with the free trial, you could watch a course, make sure it's a good fit. And once you do subscribe, you get access to all our new courses, you get access to our community, and you get access to all our resources, certificate, and much, much more. I'll put a link in the description if you want to learn more about that. Okay, if this video helped you understand AI agents better, please drop a like and let me know in the comment what kind of AI agents you're thinking about building. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I will catch you on the next one.